We were in the hotel with my husband and my dad, and we, said, oh man, he did pass away this morning. And so, it was sad. And we were just walking down here past Deseret Book and talking about it and, what we remember and kind of what's gonna happen next.
This morning, I got a text actually at like 5 a.m. that said he passed from my dad. Hearing him in general conference and he was such a prolific speaker. So we loved hearing him speak. Anytime we could hear an opportunity to hear him speak.
I think he has a very memorable voice, and so whenever I was a kid and General Conference came on, I always tuned into him because he had a voice that was like soothing, and I always knew that his messages were something that I wanted to listen to. But he always stood up for the truth and stood up for things that maybe, other groups might not, care about or weren't politically correct. He always kind of said the truth, and I always loved him for doing that.
I think, he obviously had some controversial takes over there, but I personally loved it. I think that he was a very divine man. He was called at the right time, and he knew, what members needed to hear and what non-members needed to hear too. I really believe he was a devoted man and called right at this time for a reason. So we were at the last BYU football game, and he just was being pushed in his wheelchair right in front of us as we were headed to our seats. And so it was a really cool moment just a few weeks ago to see him, and his spirit of life and his happiness still came through, even at his old age.
He was influential in getting BYU, I think, kind of more to a worldwide stage. People, had known it for different things, but I think he tried to make sure people knew, we're a worldwide church, and we want to, invite everyone to become a part of our church.
He was a great man, though, and I think it's just a great time to reflect on his messages and kind of go back and listen to some of his previous conference talks, and I just really embrace his life that way.